Most people see Mario Party as a fun little way to kill an hour. They'll sit down for 20 turns, hit the dice, play a bunch of minigames, make some jokes about chance time and how it's both the best thing and makes the game totally about luck, and go on sure that either they had a great time or say it was tantamount to torture.
Game of skill!
Way to win this game of skill, Brad. Congratulations.
It's a cute little sprint of a title that maybe you have some ideas on. Maybe you know the boards pretty well after playing a bunch. Maybe you've watched a Zoomzyke video to optimize minigame play. But usually, most people are going to get in, enjoy their time, and usually admit whoever wins the most minigames is probably going to run away with it.
I'm the best!
I am not most people. I love Mario Party. I am a threat to win every single game I play, and I don't even win Minigame Star half the time. I know people who desperately want to win something that they're investing a full hour or more of their time into, significantly more than your average Mario Kart race. And I take advantage of that fact. I psychologically chew up and spit out my friends and their predictable gambits, giving them good advice, turning them against one another, acting like a pitiful little baby while I bide my time. Until I don't have those friends anymore because they keep letting me get away with this. Most play Mario Party as if it's a game of chance. I am willing to take poker psychology into my board play and manipulate the short-minded fools to my will. And if you're asking, well, where does this guy get off how good he is against his ex-friends? I bet my ex-friends could beat up his ex-friends. I won $500 by being a champion of a Mario Party Superstars tournament because I'm really good at hot rope jump. I have won more money in one Mario Party tournament than most fighting game players will achieve in their entire lives. I have driven away everyone for the spirit of the game. And I offer you the chance to sit at my table, drink from my cup, bask in my knowledge. Do not just become the life of the party, become the party. And you too can have no friends, but in return, you will become above average at Mario Party. To preface this video a bit, my area of expertise is in the 3 Nintendo 64 Mario parties. I have played all of them, and a lot of this advice will be transitive to most versions of the game, but I like 2 and 3 the most because I think Coinstar is a bit more fun to manipulate and manage than Ormstar, and I'm not a fan of the change to Coin in Superstars. This vid is mostly going over general tips, board sense, and using examples from throughout the series, but mostly the 2 I like to better illustrate them. So even if I don't answer what you should roll on your sluggish room on this specific space of EGAD's garage on turn 15 when you have 2 stars,
It's not raining outside after we gargle with vanilla pudding.
You should be able to at least pose a solid threat no matter what game you're playing. And just figure it out yourself, dude. You're capable and good looking today. I believe in you. Just a little less than I believe in me. Now, there are a ton of mini-games in the Mario Party series, and a lot of videos out there that'll tell you how to be good at all of them. But sometimes, you're just going to hit a wall against an opponent who's better at mashing or whatever than you. And that's okay. What is important is that you focus on a few mini-games that you specifically are good at and know that you can get 10 coins in. If you're the one who's good at button mashing, good for you. You probably already know the feeling of everyone groaning every time Pokepummel or Domination or whatever shows up. But I was born with baby hands that don't hit the buttons so good, so I need to focus on games where mashing isn't the biggest requirement. In general, games where you don't have to interact with your opponents are the easiest to gain mastery of. For instance, I can pretty confidently ensure victory in Balloon Burst, Totem Pole Pound, Rockin' Raceway, Mario Speedwagons, and Fun Run. which have no interaction from the opponent and just have speedrun strats where you essentially implement the same thing every time. Having a cache of a couple minigames that you have on lock, in addition to a greater majority that you can stay competitive at, will greatly improve your consistency and lighten the mental load of wondering when you can scrounge up that 10 coin boost to let you buy an item, a star, or go to Boo. However, there are some minigames that are more valuable than others, and those are coin minigames. Knowing optimal strategies for games like Deep Sea Salvage, Quicksand Cache, Parasol Plummet, Parachute Plunge, Cash Flow, Pyramid Scheme, and Winner or Dinner can make an absolute world of difference, as you can get swings of 20, sometimes 30 coins with a good run, and prevent your foes from getting the same windfall. Not only do these coins add to your immediate funds, but remember, all coins in minigames count toward the minigame star, meaning that cleaning up in a good game of Hammer Drop is worth potentially more than 3 wins in a button mashy type game. Keep this in mind, as this is a secret tool that will help us later. Battle games are also a very solid focus. Sure, some will always be dictated purely by chance, as they should be as a major balancing factor. But knowing that you have 1 or 2 of those games absolutely locked down is tremendous. And knowing that you struggle with one in specific is a terrible feeling. Same goes for duels, especially in Mario Parties 5 and 6, where you can guarantee stars can be put on the line. By focusing on these potential wider gains in specific, along with having a few good games in pocket to see through the chaos, you can keep yourself nicely propped up and always in the game instead of just wandering around, hitting dice, and praying. Generally, there are 2 coin amounts in Mario Party actually worth something on the board: 20 coins and 50 coins. When you have 20 coins, you're able to buy most good items, and most importantly, it tends to be the magic number for purchasing a star. With 50, you can usually do damn near anything, from buying a magic lamp and using it to get a star, even in games where the lamp's stupidly expensive, to stealing a star with Boo. As such, these should be the numbers that you are always hyper aware of any player having, including yourself, as they open up more options than any other coin threshold. However, I noticed that a bunch of players are merely reactionary to this, panicking when someone reaches these numbers and it's too late to stop them. Ideal play is noticing when players are 1 minigame away from breaching these thresholds at north of 10 or 40 coins, and basing your moves on that. For example, if someone buys any item on turn 1 of a game on a board with a close shop like Spiny Desert or Waluigi's Island, unless something wacky happens like a coin or battle minigame, they are out of star contention for turn 2, as there's no way for them to get the minimum of 15 coins needed from a combo of a minigame win and a blue space. Same goes for a plethora of other boards that have a bank or other toll close to start. These are boards where you can afford to take it a little slower and more methodically on 9 out of 10 games. The main point of these barriers is to cross them yourself and keep opponents from crossing them at all costs. If a foe's on the way to a star, but only has 14 coins, it might be worth using your efforts in the next minigame not to make sure that you win, but to ensure that they don't get 6 coins, regardless on if you're on the path to the star or not. Keeping a star in the same place creates a stagnant game state, where the odds of the star popping up next to someone who can actually afford it is gatekept by it not moving. And if you want to bully your opponents and maintain a lead or prop up your bonus star tallies, that is a great investment for you. Likewise, if anyone is even approaching that 50 coin benchmark, you want to paint a target on their back ASAP. Much like real life, it is very easy to rally people to stop a person from becoming rich, rather than trying to strip away the wealth of the already wealthy. by suppressing everyone else and getting into the right position to rise to heaven yourself, you'll be laughing all the way to the bank with the only rallying cry true winners need.
I'm rich and you're not! I'm rich and you're not! I'm rich and you're not!
What the fuck?
I'm rich and you're not!
We might need a chance to...
I'm not crazy. I'm just rich. And you're not!
Let's hear that catchphrase.
I'm rich. You.
Love it.
If there is one thing I can impart to you from this video, it's this. The most important thing in a game of Mario Party isn't your dice rolls or your minigame performances or item play. It's you. It's that you are playing a video game with usually 3 other humans who are fallible, who know Mario Party's reputation of allowing you to lose everything in an instant, who are scared of losing it all, and who are looking for some sense of security. No matter how good you are at the game, if all 3 other players decide to team up and bully you, the odds of you winning drastic go down. So beat everyone to the punch, play the long con, and learn when to whisper honeyed words and when to shut your trap. For instance, the absolute easiest way of opening up a conversation is waiting until turn 6 or so, and if you aren't the one who's been cleaning house all game, maybe mentioning that, well, Peach is the minigame star. It doesn't matter if it's true, but if she's won 2 minigames and it's reasonable to assume she's got a shot, there's gonna be a target. And now Yoshi and Waluigi don't really feel like letting Peach win any more minigames. You're the much better option between the two. This is something that only gets more and more effective as the game goes on. Most players aren't going to have a pen and paper recording the results of every single minigame, and if they do, that's counting cards. Get them the hell out. People aren't likely going to remember every individual minigame result, but they are likely to remember how many times they think they've seen a specific person win. This is where we bring out our old friend. Everybody say, Coin Minigame Master. 3 wins seems a lot more oppressive than making bank in a single coin game, even if they end up with the same return. So if your opponents are even a little competitive with you, this is a wonderful little smokescreen to put up, and if it won't get them to go after the target you want, you'll at least confuse them enough to the point where they'll be trying to scramble and figure out their next move. You can do the same with the other bonus stars too. It's very easy to befuddle a crowd with who has the happening star? And as long as the answer isn't obvious, change their habits to try and target those question marks instead of doing something else. Specific boards offer talking points as well. Debate is an absolutely essential skill in Castaway Bay, in convincing opponents to let the guy ahead of you go on the bad boat instead of the good boat, or even just giving them advice that they might be too tunneled to figure out on their own. Giving legitimate help is one of the easiest ways to gain trust, especially for players looking to come back from behind, and lets you control yet another intangible with them going for a strategy that'll hinder your opponents rather than fishing for chance time or something else that could potentially bite you in the rear. But the main arbiter of fate, who adores the silver tongue more than any other, is Boo. Boo is perhaps the one safety raft of consistency in Mario Party, where as long as you aren't disgustingly destitute, he can give you the chance to steal coins or stars and get you right back into the game. He's the insurance policy to make sure that one player doesn't run away with the whole game, the one thing other than chance time that anyone in a good spot has to fear. And the most exploitable element of the party. You see, It is very easy to turn a good-natured, predictable, straightforward game of Mario Party into a bloodbath of paranoia, lies, and self-doubt. And all you need are 6 magic words. Why shouldn't I steal from you? It doesn't matter if you've already made up your mind. The moment someone feels targeted, as long as they aren't the only practical choice to steal from, they will offer up someone else's head on a platter. And from there, you're not the enemy for stealing with Boo, you're just trying to make the best decision possible. They're the betrayer who guided your knife into a sweet, innocent back. This is also the most brilliant opportunity to make all of the deals in the world. Say that you stealing from someone would prevent them from getting a star they're right next to. However, you're not overly concerned with this player winning right now, or at least not as much as another threat that you could steal coins or burn a Boo repellent from. Offering that player that, you won't take their moment of glory, but in return they won't steal from you the next chance they get, is an easy offer that most would be desperate to take. And sure, they could go back on their word and stab you in the back. But no one's gonna forget that. No one's gonna trust them again. And besides, most people tend to be grateful for being allowed to continue playing the video game. People are kind. People believe in the power of friendship. And it's true. Friendship is such a wonderful thing to use to destroy your enemies from the fearful. You can even use this defensively. Say you're in a scenario where everyone has the same amount of stars, but you know you have Minigame or Happening Star locked up, and your rival has made it to Boo with enough coins to steal a star. Say the right words, act a bit defeated, cast doubt into people's minds on who's got what bonus star. More than likely, a good-natured player is going to choose the random option on Boo. Because it doesn't matter who they get a star from necessarily, they're just picking who won't win in this case. And hey, there is a 33% chance they could be you, but it's better than the 100% chance you'd have of getting screwed if they thought for themselves. And when you take that 66 2/3% chance of someone else getting stolen from with your natural 25% chance and the 25% chance from the other guy who just got stolen from, that gives you a 116 2/3% chance at winning every game of Mario Party as long as you talk your way out of it. The numbers don't lie, but you do. And that is all you need. One of the things I'll see folks who think they've studied Mario Party go for is massive gimmick plays. These are plays that can have upwards of 3 or 4 stars in a single turn, and are usually board specific. I'm talking using the reverse mushroom after passing Boo on chilly waters to bounce off this skeleton key gate and potentially visit the ghost 4 times in 3 turns, or Big Boo in Horrorland stealing a star from every player for 150 coins, or having a Potaboo on Sweet Dream so you burn yourself and pass a bridge without changing its route to mess up an opponent. Now these are big brain plays that seem incredible to pull off. Do not plan for them. If you happen to have a reverse mushroom or can afford one late in the game, yeah, that risk is absolutely worth taking. Don't buy a reverse mushroom or skeleton key on turn 1 because you're eventually planning on getting there and enacting your master plan on turn 16 or something. Everything in Mario Party is at least somewhat at the mercy of a dice roll, so you might not even get into position to do this amazing gambit at the right time, or your reverse mushroom might roll a 1. Or you might be holding on to that skeleton key all game, and even when you do use it, you don't reach Big Boo before it's nap time for him again. It is significantly more important to be flexible in Mario Party than it is to have multi-turn plans, as the simple chaos of a game can disrupt things beyond repair. Unless a strategy is simply too good to ignore and has a significant degree of reliability, like camping out near the Red Chomp in Pyramid Park, playing a safer game will net you better results than going out on a limb for your predictable 300 IQ play. And speaking of flexibility, This is the Boo Bell.
Dear God. There's more. No.
It's very good, probably the most aggressive item in the game, and I immediately see people become tunneled the instant it's on the table, often buying it before they have money to use it in any meaningful way, as it rots in their inventory for several turns. Same thing with the magic lamp. Now obviously, these are high-value items, as are future versions like Pink, Boo, Flutter, and so on. I'm not here to tell you they're not good. But unless they win you the game in very short order, where a 1-star swing is your win condition, or the lamp would get you in the perfect position for a solid follow-up play, look at your other options and try to look for the more defensive among them. The plunder chest is the most obvious example. Freely steal an item from an opponent's inventory. Just holding on to one of these changes the entire dynamic of a game. Now, everyone's future item pickups are brought into question, because before they can use it, you have a chance to potentially steal the item from them. Even if it's just a small chance, as the plunder chest steals a random item or from a random target in Mario Party 2, the very idea of you getting even further ahead will cause players to shift their entire game plans, avoid buying those big-ticket items like the bell and lamp that could potentially hinder you, or even eschew other defensive options like Boo Repellent or another chest. Why bother giving you even more defense and letting you win more after all? Stealing items creates a kind of cold war on the item economy, where everyone tries to load up on low-cost, low-value fodder to play around with until the first shot rings out. Establishing this the moment you start to get a lead is incredibly important. But even more important than that is having contingency plans if something goes wrong. Holding on to a simple mushroom for a rainy day where you can't afford to roll low can change the tempo of games completely as you snipe a star from someone. Board positioning is an incredibly underrated aspect to every Mario Party game. And something as simple as doing a board event that changes pathways before your opponent can ruin them for multiple turns. Anyone who's played Mario Party 4 can certainly attest. If someone has a plunder chest, having an item that can eventually get more items like the cellular shopper or something that lets you roll triples to get to an item shop quickly prove to be more effective aces in the hole than the skeleton keys and cursed mushrooms that usually clutter inventories. And for those of you who enjoy Mario Party 3, this guy, right here, trust me, he is the best thing that's ever going to happen to you. Bowser is well known for his charity if you visit him with no money, but in MP3, he doesn't even do a roulette shtick first. You just get the money instantly.
Coming in, sir!
I'm getting back in line.
Calling Bowser up on the phone is an instant refund if you happen to bottom out. Something that is very easy to do, even intentionally, given the abundance of battle games in Mario Party 3 and the very existence of Game Guy. Turning that gambling space into a potentially guaranteed profit. Oh, and if an opponent happens to be getting ahead, you can at least try for Bowser to take all their money as a Hail Mary. I don't think people realize just how valuable positioning really is to a game of Mario Party. It is the one aspect that, even more than chance time, can utterly ruin a game for someone. Think about getting stuck at the start of Toad's Midway Madness, locked into an infinite loop of being chased by cars in Spaceland. Anytime you go to a small area where you make a little circle and the only escape is a happening space. Rolling poorly and getting sent back to that no progress zone repeatedly is one of the most miserable parts of Mario Party, as you feel incapable of making any moves or contributing to the game state in any way other than hoping that the game gives you a good minigame for all those coins you can't use. Putting an opponent into one of these situations can be one of the most demoralizing, crushing, and beautiful things in the world. Admittedly, a lot of this is board and situation specific, and items that let you swap positions with an opponent are usually random, but that's okay. You don't always have to do this. All I ask is that you go to boards and you think to yourself, where is the most miserable place to be on this board? If a star ends up in that area and you have a good chance of getting there, maybe invest in a warp block for your travels. Trapping someone else in that pit, no matter who it is, and getting to be in a much better position, pretty great investment, regardless if you ended up getting to the star first or not. Top left-hand corner is a Bowser Land and Space Land. Side of the board Womp is blocking on Creepy Cavern. Top path or center of Bowser Nightmare. The start of Toad's Midway Madness. Immediately after the rightmost Klepto on Shy Guy's Jungle Jam. Those are big enough stretches of either nothing or potential infinite loops that you'll be killing a few of their turns. And Mario Party 4's Warp Pipe is even possible to learn the timing on, so if you want to be nice and targeted, you do that. You go for it. Get freaky with it.
It's funny how painless pain is when it ain't happening to you.
But that's not the only way to take positional advantage from your opponents. Look toward board-specific events too. I have single-handedly won games off of the back of the Bowser Parade. Not because I'm taking coins from my opponents, but because sending them back to start absolutely ruined their hopes of getting to the next star before me. Womps remain omnipresent gatekeepers throughout the series, and using them to keep a path blocked, even if you yourself can't afford a star ahead by paying their toll, is much better than letting your opponent swoop in. And if you can keep them right under that coin threshold, it's more than worth the price. And that's to say nothing about Horrorland, where the Womps turning to stone at night can utterly wreck opponents. Get those fellas in the way as much as you possibly can.
It's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it.
Flooding the Shy Guy River. Exclusively trapping one pathway or another at the junction. Taking a split path before an opponent to keep them from going the right way, intentionally breaking this ice to send you and your opponent back to start. Always be aware of where your opponents want to go, and think about what you can do to give them as many detours as possible. You don't have to do this every single time, but if you've listened to the above tips, you know who you should be looking out for. You're reading the room, you're playing your cards, you know who you have to take down. People play worse when they feel they're out of the game, and that will give you a nice, solid edge in all of the minigames to come. Don't commit too much to a specific strategy, or you'll end up falling prey to tip 4, but it's Mario Party. It would be in the spirit of things to maybe just once ruin someone's day. Bonus stars are practically the only things in the game that can't be stolen by Boo, a plunder chest, or chance time. Except for positioning, but we already covered that. This makes them insanely valuable to hold on to, as it essentially gives you a safety net that no one can come back from. Now, the minigame star is always up for contention. You can usually help yourself by following tip 1 and guaranteeing yourself some wins, but there's always going to be someone somewhere in the world who's better than you at some of the minigames, and you just might have to play against them. Or maybe you're having a bad day. Who knows? That star people don't usually keep track of. They just have a feeling of who's winning it, and it's hard to specifically sabotage one player while still actually winning minigames. Believe me, I've tried. But other bonus stars, those are fair game. Coin Star is often the biggest one, especially in its pre-Superstars form. Whoever has the most coins at any point in the game gets a free star. This is pretty easily trackable. Usually players can figure out who's got it by around turn 5, and then there's a game of constant one-upsmanship from there in trying to snatch it away. This is by far the easiest bonus star to build a game plan around. Once coins pass 50, players are very eager to toss their money away for lamps and booze. Consider to yourself, if you're at Boo, Is it more worth it to steal a star for 50 or steal the coin star for 5? Or even get close to that coin star threshold? Because let me tell you, one of those ends up with you having more coins at the end. The ability to take coin star away from someone is compounded with the ability to take away their ability to use their money to play the game, and is probably the healthiest way to avoid scenarios where you steal a star from someone and then they steal it right back, so you're right back to where you started, but you're both 50 coins poorer. Star steals should be saved toward the end of a game. Simply use the mid-game to try and stay in contention, get all the money you feel comfortable with holding, and then burn that cash at Stores and Boo before someone gets the bright idea to trigger a battle game or chance time and steal that from ya. Other bonus stars are a bit trickier to control. Happening Star is something that a lot of players specifically go for because, hey, free star if I keep it up. And while it's not as easy as Coin is to keep track of in the mental stack, it's usually single digits to remember. It's not terribly hard. Mario Party 6's Orb Star is usually contingent on dice rolls where you can intend to go after it, but sometimes you just won't get to the drops in time. Same for Movement, Red, Friendship, Bowser Space. Actually, shopping you can kind of game as like an investment strategy. It's like Koopa's Tycoon Town. Mix that with some older game Coinstar philosophy strats, you're pretty good. The point is, there's a lot less control here for one person to cover all of these bases. However, there's more than 2 people playing a game of Mario Party. If you're not in the lead for a specific bonus star, and you need to ensure a couple others, it's far easier to convince someone that, oh, landing on Bowser Spaces right now is your only chance at a comeback. You gotta go for it. The important thing is not getting the star for yourself. It's that you are taking options away from a rival that you think has the best chance of coming after your crown, and figuring out just how many stars you need to go for to make that comeback or seal your victory. And if you need more than one, sure, go for as many of them as you can. But Mario Party isn't a game where you win by getting every single star. Or at least that shouldn't be if you're playing a healthy match against people who aren't robots. You just need exactly enough. And let me tell you, winning through bonus stars when everyone else has hope that, oh, maybe they can pull this one out, but you know the truth, so much more satisfying than utter domination. But that brings me to my final piece of advice. Some of you might look at this masterwork of manipulation to win a virtual children's board game and think, this sounds needlessly evil and petty. No one would ever want to play with you. And you're right. If you do all 7 of the above things, it will create a toxic environment that will cause your opponents to drown and flounder and never want to play Mario Party with you again. Great! And if they do stick around, they ain't gonna listen to a single thing you say. So, give them good advice. Let them know good plays for them when you see them, especially if it would hinder someone you think would threaten you. Don't go back on deals you make and betray their trust. Throw a mini game so they get a star if they're no threat to you in the long term. Don't make them never want to play Mario Party again. Make them want to beat you. From a sentimental perspective, making people invested in their play, studying how to get better, figuring out how to navigate deals while you still remain one step ahead. That's the spirit of the game that's Mario Party at its best, and something we should all strive for. From a practical standpoint, no, they need to buy what you're selling, and a closer game means that they aren't going to be targeting you at chance time at every single opportunity to steal all 7 of their stars and you get their 1 or whatever. Kindness, like everything else, is a power to make you win. And if you develop your board sense, study up, know exactly where to strike and where you can win, you'll keep winning. And they'll let you get away with it.
I'm the best!
I grew up being told that Mario Party is a bad series. I went through development, watching online videographers like Giant Bomb refer to it as a form of torture, a punishment of a game to get through where your actions don't matter. It's all a game of chance. I spent decades sitting there, knowing that the world was wrong, but never getting the chance to say it. And now, I will. Mario Party is incredible at its best. It can be exactly as cutthroat as the best kind of card games, getting a read on strategies, seeing what's on the table and hoping that the next lucky hit will leave you far ahead of everyone else, but combines it with just enough games of various actual skill to keep everyone invested for most of its runtime. You can believe it's all for naught, and some parties, yeah, you're gonna lose through no fault of your own. But you know how to be consistent now. You know how to mitigate the dangers, how to lure others into traps. When your time to shine is when the minigame roulette gives you that free win you have so desired from it. You are the master of the comeback, a silver-tongued devil waiting to dupe. A chess master playing 3 different games against 3 different opponents and ready to win them all. And that's what truly matters. You may no longer hold friends, but you're rich and they're not, bathing in stars and coins in the heavens above whilst they toss the dice below. And really, is that not the true dream of humanity? To abandon relationships for the sake of being really good at a virtual board game? I don't know. I just like it when Donkey Kong wins.